Tracker. Go Flat Tracker, go, go, go.
The Kelpie Flat Track Pod, brought to you by Kelpie, affordable race products designed to help you stay on track. Now onto the episode.
Having a great chat today with two related racers, Heath and Jack Steward. They're from Victoria in Australia, and I do a bit of racing against them, and great blokes, and it's a great chat. Hope you enjoy that one. Preparing for the Vic titles, hopefully this will be released so you guys can listen to it on the way to the Vic titles. Quite a few riders coming from New South Wales. It's going to be some hot racing, dirt track action. Looking at my phone here on the riders list, we've got a slider class, which is fantastic, with some past and current Australian champions. You got Jody Mason, Taylor Street, James Davies, coming down all the way from Queensland, Michael West, Mick Coddell, Leon Edwards. So that's going to be awesome to watch. I always find the slider class interesting because the right-hander, they're not 100% designed for right-handers, but they still pull it off, no worries. Some riders are a lot more comfortable with it than others. Sorry, just reposition myself there. And I always find those bikes really interesting to watch. So if you're not familiar with a slider class, they're basically a long track speedway bike. They have suspension and a couple gears. Play around with their ratios a lot. And they sort of corner like a speedway bike where it's a constant slide. So really a really impressive class to watch. We've got a class of over 40s, which was always going to be really competitive. Mitch Wolf has been dominating in the over 40s, like at Oyen, and the club champs he was, but didn't make a couple rounds, so he missed out on awards there, I think, or he might have, I can't remember. But some great talent in there too. You got Jody Mason in that one. He's won a lot of titles in speedway and long track, and he'll be good to watch. Obviously Mitch, Leon Edwards in that one too. Adrian Leonetti, Heath Stewart, one of the guys we're interviewing today, is going to be in there. Ralph Pink, he's been going gangbusters, taking more trophies home than anyone this year, I think. And you got a Stuart Greaves there, and Tony Nagel, who's also a speedway racer from the past. I haven't seen him on a bike for a while, so that'll be interesting. Tony's seen your race, and it's got a lot of racing history behind him, Tony. Supported by Ivan Major, etc., etc. And then pre-90s has got a few in it. The Pro 250 is quite a big class. We've forgotten that. Our rider Zane Kinners in the Pro 250. Bradley Burns, Harley Club of Victoria. A-grader, who's got multiple titles under his belt, Australian 250 title, and I'm sure a lot of other state titles as well. Sorry, I'm saying a lot of R's here because my brain's not functioning very good. Cody Lewis, Sam Kino, I already mentioned, Kyle Manchin, Reese Orchard. Now, I haven't seen Reese for a while, so that's interesting. He's having a crack. I know he's pretty good on a road bike. He's also very good on a dirt track. I've watched him since a young tacker, and he has a lot of skills. Daniel Leonetti, I'm pretty sure he's on a Kelpie for this one too. Took out the club championships on a Kelpie block, so good on you, Dan. Really impressed and happy with that result. Mick Coddell did really well at the Australian titles on the 250 class. Unfortunately, he fell off. I think he was in third or fourth, and he went down, so I missed out on that one. But he was going bloody awesome. Sam Lolly, good rider. Riley Gilbert, Jack Steward, who's also on this pod after I stopped rambling. Ruby Hill, Jack Holmes, Peter Smith, Dave. Start again into the 450 class. So you're getting carried away. So Jack Holmes rounded off the 250s. 450s, I think there's about 3 heats. So I'll quickly run through some of those riders. Pete Smith, David Smith. You're up from by Sydney there, New South Wales. Bradley Burns, Mitch Wolfe. Mitch is from either Albury or Wodonga. I'm not sure what side of the border he's from. One of our riders, Brendan McCowett, Joshua Knights, Troy Knights. I'm not sure where those boys are from. Clear Day, Luke Johnston, Taylor Street, Australian, current Australian women's champ. Cody Lewis, Zane Kinner, Harrison Small, Reese, Outred, James Davies, Daniel Leonetti, Laura Saxton, and Remy Fife, Mick Codgirl, Oscar Sutherland, Heath Stewart, Andy Martins, I believe, may have pulled out, work commitments, Jack Stewart, Aaron Clifford. Aaron was on the last pod, so it's great to see him coming down from up by Griffith there. Benjamin Mundy, really happy to see Benjamin Mundy in there. He's a currently pretty new rider to dirt track, so he's been going really well. So that's great. Going to be a great experience for him. Ty Darkin, he's sort of in the same boat. So there's really good field of riders there. It's going to be full on. You're going to have to go hard right from the get-go, and it's going to be down to a repechage to get the last couple spots into the final. So you really want to be up the front in your heats, and then the repechage, whoever's left over there will be top 2 will go through to the final. And on the Sunday, which will be fantastic. And the women, we've got Clear Day, Taylor Street, Laura Saxon, Ruby Hill, Kelsey Jensen, and Taylor Borshman. Those last 2 are riding for us next year, which I'm really ecstatic to have them on board. All different levels, rider levels, and they're coming on as development riders, and we're going to help them achieve their goals, their racing goals, and be the best that they can. Great to see some sidecars on the list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sidecars. So that's going to be awesome. And then we go into all the juniors. I'll just sidecar riders. We've got Matthew Brown, Kenneth Miller, Sean Griffiths, and Kai Frame. I hope I've got that right. Darren Frudinsky. I'm going to have to get my reading glasses on. I think the riding's a bit small. So that's your sidecars, and obviously their passengers. For some reason the passengers' names aren't on here. I think they were having issues with the entries. So on the 80, actually let's just quickly blow from that. And before I say that, I forgot to mention on one of my catch-up podcasts, one of the other sites I use a lot on YouTube, or YouTube channels I use a lot, is Factory 20. And find that really handy if you want to learn about the 19 stuff. So check that out. Thought I'd better slip that in because I keep meaning to and I keep forgetting. So we were down to the juniors. So lots of juniors riding in multiple classes. Where are we? Riley Plum, Caden Bunworth, who's been going great. Nicholas Berry's going great. This last year of juniors, he'll be riding for us next year in seniors. Holly Hope, Kyle Munchin, Nicholas Berry, Riley Plum. That's where they start doubling up a bit. Hudson Collins, Henry Small. Henry's been riding awesome too. Ezra Simpson, Freddie Coit, George Holmfist. I'm going to have to talk to some of these people, figure out how to say their names. Cooper McQuarrie, Hunter Law, Dan Greaves, Hugh Hope, Tommy Wright, Jet Fife, Charlie Nicholas, Mitch Carrick, he's been riding well as well. Bo Greaves. Yeah, it's very hard. Sorry if I miss you if you are listening, because quite a few of them double up. So I'll have a look. Thomas and William Coates, I think I've already said. Ethan Johnson, Riley French, Darcy Phillips, George. We're back into doubling up. It's very hard because it's not separated. And then, we've got Open Unlimited as well, which has got a lot of the 450 riders with a few mixed up there as well, a few extra guys. But if I didn't mention you, don't get upset about it. We're going to have a go at live streaming, so hopefully you'll be heard on that. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to work yet. We've never done it, and it's all going to be flying by the seat of our pants. It's funny, been a little bit quiet lately, and of course, a couple of days out to the Vic Titles when I'm trying to get organised for commentating my first title event. I just get sales and emails, and it's all going gangbusters, which is fantastic. But it's always the way, isn't it? That's the Vic Titles, Victorian Dirt Track Titles, and it was a late decision to host it after the 100 we didn't pull off the 100, unfortunately, which was a dirt track endurance event. So a few guys really wanted us to host the titles. So as far as I know, it was sort of said, well, get to it then. So they did, and they're pulling it off, and it looks like the weather's going to be fantastic. I think it was a couple 30-degree days. So bring your water. Make sure you're hydrated. You got your suntan lotion, etc. And we're really looking forward to being there. And I'll have a couple bikes on display. My 04 is back together. Unfortunately, it can't run because I stripped the banjo belt, but we'll fix that. But it can definitely be displayed. So that will have the Kelpie block front and rear on, so you can come and have a look at that. And our A17's got the American setup, so people interested in having a look, come over to one of the Kelpie pit shows. Not sure how we're going to set it up yet, but probably next to each other and over by where I'll be commentating. So walk around and have a look. Obviously we'll have tyres there as well if you need a tyre during the meet. 19s if you've got your 19 rim with you. If you're on an 18, you should be stocked up already. But going to be an awesome weekend. As I mentioned, Factory 20 is a great place if you're setting up a 19 bike. I've forgotten the host's name, but he's a well of information, and I've taken a lot away from that. Plenty of episodes on there. Another YouTube channel that is pretty cool is Go Fast with Paul Caslick, who was a multi-Australian champion dirt track racer. He said he's retired, but I think he still throws a leg over every now and then. But he has some great chats too, and I just thought I'd mention those because I do enjoy watching those guys as well. Factory 20 is a lot more like a bit of a clinic in some ways. He talks about the riding side of things a lot, which is good, and talks to a few bike setup guys, etc. So I always think that's pretty handy. Whereas Paul more talks about, sort of like me, you get to know the guys he's interviewing a bit more and that sort of thing, rather than actually talking about the racing itself or body position and all that sort of stuff like Factory 20 does. So anyway, it was great to have Heath and Jack on. Jack uses a Kelpie block, so I really appreciate their support. They've been big supporters right from the get-go, and he's been doing really well. I hope you enjoyed the chat that we have, and everyone race safe that's racing in the weekend. Coming up to Christmas, so I will do a couple pods, but they might be a little bit more stretched out. We're hoping to talk to James Davey, who is from Townsville in Queensland. He was originally from Melbourne, but he moved up to Townsville. He had a bit of a really life-changing experience, which I think he wants to talk about. He came up to try out his bike, which he hadn't been on for about 7 years, at a test day last weekend, and oh man, he was in form straight off the bat, and which I was quite surprised. He has ridden a little bit up in Queensland, he said, but yeah, he's looking really good. So he was at the top of the sport when his incident happened, and yeah, when he decided to have a break, a bit of a step back from racing, but he really wants to talk about that and the mental side, so that's going to be great. Hopefully him and Brendan and James, they have a good rapport, so we'll probably be throwing that one on Brendan, and hopefully they both have the energy out on Saturday after the racing to have a good chat, and you guys get to hear about James and his thoughts, and he's I'll tell you what he's passionate about it. I think even though he had a couple bevies, he told me about 8 times that he's doing a pod with me. So, but and I'll definitely be involved. But I sort of thought, it'd be nice that Brendan takes the reins a bit. But I'm wording him up now, putting the pressure on. He might not have the energy. We'll see, because he's as most of you know, he's the president of the Harley Club, so he'll have a lot going on. But we'll see how they go. Might be a good way to relax and have a bit of downtime too. So I'm going to stop blabbering on. Reach out if you want to know anything, if you need any help setting up anything. We do our best to help everyone. I do reply. Lately it's taken a couple of days for me to reply because I've had a bit of backlog which I'm clearing up. But I will reply no matter what. Even if there's some technical difficulties, I usually find you and I'll contact you as soon as I found it. I don't know why, but on social media things tend to hide. Sometimes messages go to weird places. But so Heath and Jack Steward, let's get into it. Yeah, all right, beautiful. So we're off. So we've got Heath and Jack Steward here. I got it right. Is it Stewart or Steward?
Steward, yeah, you got it right, mate. All good. We get both anyway, man, so that's fine.
Yeah, sweet. So father and son racing duo, race each other a fair bit, and I race against you guys as well. And you're based in Victoria and Hoppers Crossing, Melbourne, a suburb of Melbourne. And
that's right, yep.
Yeah, do you both live there, or like you all live together?
Both live here, yeah.
Yeah, because
5 minutes apart, it's pretty good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, some pretty massive news for you, Jack. You bought your first house this year.
Yeah, first one, yeah.
And it's just around the road from
March.
Mum and Dad, is it?
Yeah.
Just around the corner, mate. Nice and close.
Yeah, sweet. So you're living in it, yeah, not renting it or something like that?
No, it's all mine.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's a pretty big achievement for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely,
How long
man.
were you saving for that?
How long? Pretty much all my apprenticeship, all 4 years.
Yeah, right.
And I just let that, just have the opportunity to buy it. I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah, so may as well get the market early. So I thought, what else would I rather do? So
yeah, cool. I think there's a little bit of lag, so if I talk over you, I apologise. There's a little bit of delay, I think. So hopefully I'll try and leave as much space between comments and stuff as I can.
Just a bit of an awkward silence in between, mate. That's all right.
Yeah. So dirt track, flat track racing. How did you guys get into it?
Geez, I was racing some motocross. I was doing V&X, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. And one of the guys, Chris Hume, I was racing with him actually. He was racing some motocross at the time, and he goes, "Look, I go down the Harley Club and race flat track." He goes, "Have a go, you'll love it." And pretty much I went to the Come and Try Day. Yeah, I think every January they were having it back then. I think they still do.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts. Went down Come and Try Day, and yeah, just had a blast, man. Yeah, like it was fantastic. So the motocross was great, but I just really enjoyed just going as fast as the bike could go, just wide open throttle down the straights.
Yeah.
So I raced for a couple of seasons. Jackie boy sort of got involved with motocross and started doing some racing there. And I said to him, yeah, jump on the dirt track, you'll enjoy it. How long ago was that? 2 years ago?
3, I think. Remember, popped up a couple months ago.
Yeah, it was about 3 years ago he started, then COVID and stuff. So he raced a couple of race meets, and then we didn't race for a while after that. And probably the last 12 months since COVID's finished and we're back racing, he's just improved in leaps and bounds, mate. I should never have got him involved. He's faster than me now.
Yeah, I have noticed that, and he got himself a new bike as well, or was it a birthday present or something? Or is
that a little treat for myself?
Another achievement, bloody hell, mate. Yeah, kicking goals.
Why not?
Yeah, kicking goals. So what did you buy yourself, Jack?
It's a 23 KTM 450.
Yeah.
Just went down to Bolton's and got that, and mate, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's just how fast the thing is, and the fact that it's produced for a motocross bike, it's incredible. It's really incredible.
And you haven't done anything to it. It's just straight out of the box sort of thing.
Pretty much. I got suspension done at Choice, so they're just next door to Bolton's. So I got that sprung to me weight and set up a flat track. So got that. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. And are you running 2118 on that?
It's 2119.
Oh,
2119. So both e-bikes are all 19s on Kelpies, obviously. So
yeah,
it's hooking up real good.
Yeah, well, you guys are one of my biggest supporters, and yeah, buying the tyre and using the tyre, which is great. So, and you were using the V rubber before that, weren't you?
Yeah. On the 250, I was running the V rubber. Yeah. It was hooking up good, but just for what you're running, they feel almost a little bit better, and then just price and just availability too. Just like you're a message away saying, "Can we get a couple of tires?" Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's delivered at the track. So
yeah,
he's got pretty good results out of the Kelpie as well. The feel of the bike, the way they work, the V rubbers, they can be a bit hit and miss on different bikes and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, the Kelpie, he's been running with the Kelpie. He's running that as 250 initially. And yeah, I mean, you see his racing, he was going quite well on that.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's some people don't like them, and that's cool. Everyone's different, and
absolutely
depends what you want to, how much time you want to spend setting up and all that sort of stuff. So there's lots of variables, as we all know, to set up and tires, and some people love the Shinkos, and I love them. I actually did love them too for about 10 laps, and then they've got no
engine. Yeah, some of them fall off the cliff pretty bad. Some of them are great when they're new and then they're rubbish. Every tyre, I suppose, has its own little characteristics, and they throughout the life of the tyre. I know we've had a lot of discussions on the Kelpie tyre about how how it's going to perform long term and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right.
I think, to be honest, like the majority of the discussions we had, you sort of expect them to fall off the cliff, but they've lasted the test with Jack.
I got the whole season on 250.
There you go. He raced the whole season on the 250 on the same tyre. I think we flipped it over a couple of times, and then we just got over it, just kept riding it in the last couple of rounds. So it's been good. I just picked up one from my 250. So looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, and so I was meant to look on the MyLaps or Speed Hive. How did you end up in the 250s, Jack? Because you were getting thirds and consistent thirds and fourths.
With my calculations, I think I got third overall by 1 point. I think.
Right.
So it'll be bloody close.
We'll find out on presentation day. It was down to the wire. It was a pretty close competition for the third place.
Yeah.
Jack just consistently through the rounds of pulling thirds, fourths, stuff like that. Put himself on the podium and stuff like that. So wait and see a presentation on how it actually went. But we're sort of thinking it's looking like, if our calculations are correct, he's going to get a podium for the club championship, which is fantastic, man. I think it's the first year doing the 250s on the Kelpie tyres, and man, it's quite an achievement. Like I said, Jack's racing. He started a few years ago. Then we had COVID, so he didn't really race. This season he's improved significantly. It's just been incredible watching the improvement, man. wasn't too long ago, man. I had his meter quite easily, and then now he's passing me every time.
Yeah.
He's improved well and done well. So he's looking good in that, the 250 class. I think, what was it? At some point, we sort of just, when he had a CRF 450, ended up doing the sprocket bowl.
Yeah.
Sheared that off. And I said to him, look, just show the 450, just focus on the 250. And that was when he just sort of jumped in the championship, the 250 class. And I think it's probably done really well for him, mate. Sort of he just improved on the 250 out of sight throughout, and now he's jumping on the 450 and just absolutely flying on that thing. So
yeah, and in the 250s, what do you reckon you're most consistent at? I've got my opinion, but what do you reckon you're most consistent at?
Oh, in what way? What do you mean?
Well, just what do you think's getting you into that sort of top five? You know, why are you there over other people, or from what you were doing beforehand?
I reckon it's just I've been a lot of work on the start. Just got that lately, just dialing that down.
Yeah,
because that's crucial, especially in the classes where it's a certain displacement. And everyone's on the exact same bike, exact same CCs. It's all on start, because you can't get anything on the straights. Corners it's basically on corners, but starts is what's crucial. I reckon that's probably what I'm most.
That is actually my answer. I reckon your starts have been pretty consistent, and I forget. It's funny. Commentating's a funny thing. When I've been commentating, I notice things, but by the end of the day, and you've gone through, you had whatever 36 or 60 races or whatever it is.
Yeah,
everything's a bit mishmashed and blurry, and people say, "Oh," I say, "I had your day when," and they're looking at me like, "Well, you watched me all day, didn't you?" But yeah, it all gets a bit mixed up. But I have noticed that your starts are pretty consistent. You, Jake Holmes, Daniel Leonetti, and Sam Lolly are all the first four sort of to break away, you know?
Absolutely.
So you're nailing
absolutely.
starts. Yeah. So, and that was.
It's been a pretty. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that's the top. Dan Leonetti, I'm pretty sure, has taken the championship out. And it must be Jake Holmes and yourself, or Sam, I'm not sure, or maybe Sam and yourself. I'm not sure which. I haven't double checked on that one. But that's two Kelpies on the podium if you have pulled that off. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and what about your season with the Harley Club, Heath? How's that gone?
Bit of a mixed bag this year. I've enjoyed my racing. I've enjoyed being back. I don't think my pace has been as good as I'd like. Having said that, my lap times have been okay, everything like that. I think it's probably just taken me a little bit. I hurt my knee. When was that?
That was 2 years,
about 12 months ago. I tweaked my knee. So coming back from that was a bit of a pain. That kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit. It was my left knee too. So, grounded my foot and stuff like that. Just hurt like hell. It's been a bit of a mixed bag like that. Come back from the injury was quite good. I was pretty happy with that, because at the time when I did it, I thought that's going to be me cooked. I ended up getting a set of the carbon knee brakes, I think the pod ones or something. And mate, they've been fantastic. Yeah, like I don't get any pain in them anymore or anything like that. I've just started wearing the steel shoe finally after all these years of racing dirt track. I went and bought myself a steel shoe. So sort of finding my feet with that. It's a different way of cornering. It's different feel. It's been a bit of a learning curve this year. I think I've probably suffered my suspension setup a little bit. I've put on a bit of weight over the season, and I think it's just the bike's not working for me. But hell, do you know what? I had an absolute blast racing this year. It was a good year.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I stepped up to B grade. Which was a really cool change, man. That's for banging bars with yourself. Brad Russell was seemed to be banging bars. There's a few sort of in that group that just banging bars, and that was fantastic, man. Yeah. So to be racing that B grade level is not only extremely quick compared to what I'm at, but coming up from C grade into that's been a good challenge. Like I said, yeah, I suppose it probably identifies where you need to improve in your racing as well. Yeah. But like I said, I just had an absolute blast racing this year, mate, yeah. Which is good.
And so have you guys always only raced at Broadford, or have you raced some other dirt track tracks, or?
We've been around the shop a little bit. We used to go to Albury quite a bit. Not as often, especially now they're flooded really. So,
Yeah.
Points of swimming.
so there's no, I'm sure there's no events anytime soon, but we used to make a trip up to Albury quite often. We done, what was it called? Skylift.
Yeah, Sky. We used to race
We
Skylift.
used to race Skylift a little bit. Done that, and then when it cut down to one meeting, it just wasn't really worth it. Wasn't worth the trip up because it's a big trip. It's 4 hours just up there just to get there.
Yeah.
And to get there, unload everything, race it just for one race. Just
The preparation's a lot. The preparation for the Skylands is pretty full on. Yeah, it's a pretty serious event. You know, I mean, for our sort of standard, man, we're just making up numbers in most events we go in. The 3-race series is fantastic. Look, it's great to be part of those people, but yeah, the last one was just one round. We're like, nah, we'll sit this one out. But we quite often head up to Mount Beauty, Myrtleford. We race up there. We're running a Twin Valleys thing over New Year's. It was one day racing at Mount Beauty. The next day was at Myrtleford, and that was an absolute blast. We go up there on New Year's Eve, camped on either side of the track, have a few drinks, get up, race the next day, pack up, head down to bloody Myrtleford, set up the camp again, and race the next day. Really good way to spend New Year's, and it was just a blast. The people there were good. That was a really good event, man. We had a really good time. Except for last year when I hurt my knee there. That wasn't very pleasant at all, mate. That sucked.
Was that Mount Beauty or?
I did it at Mount Beauty, mate. Yeah. In practice of all times too, mate. Yeah. It was just a bit slippery on practice. I went a bit too hot it was my first corner of practice, man. Yeah, it was quite embarrassing. I just taken off from the line. I did bike stall on the line. You know, they're waving everyone off for practice. My bike stalled. I got a hot head. Done the clutch and the thing's gone out from under me and tweaked me bloody knee. Yeah. But yeah, they were good tracks. There was some good racing we used to do around. There's not been a great deal, obviously, with the weather and the amount of rain they've had up in those areas. Having events, I think Myrtleford we're going to have 3 or 4 events over the last few months that have all been canned, unfortunately. So we're looking forward to getting back up there. Myrtleford is a really, really good track. Great surface, just a blast, mate. Yeah. So if anyone has thought about getting up there for a ride, go. Myrtleford's fantastic. Mount Beauty is an absolute blast. I think it's an old oil track.
It's an old oil track, yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun, man. Yeah. You know, it's worth the trip up. It absolutely is. The Twin Valleys, when they have that, if they have it again, I'd urge anyone to go and have a go at that. They're great fun. And again, as Jack said, mate, at Albury, all the time we've raced up there, the people are friendly, good crew of people up there. It's always there for a good time. They race hard. They you know, enjoy chatting the pits. Everyone's friendly, and it's a great track up at Albury too. So hopefully the water drains from there and we can bloody go and race soon.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how all the different clubs deal with it because, there's a lot of tracks underwater. I was actually speaking to Shane from the committee at Albury today, and he was saying about that. But it looks like they're going to run Skylift next year, and hopefully it will be a couple rounds rather than just the one. So
that'd be perfect, mate. The three round events at Skylift, they're the best, mate. Yeah? You feel like a rock star. They actually have paid spectators there, which is quite foreign for racing. Yeah, you normally just get wives, girlfriends, and whoever else wants to blow in for the day.
Yeah,
Skylift's a fantastic event under lights. That's always been one of our favourites, mate. It's always been a favourite event, that one.
Yeah, and it's a short track too, and I really enjoy that. Like I raced it one year, probably before you guys went up there, and because I wanted to race was it last year or the year before? Whenever it was between the COVID stuff, and it was just the one round. I think Brendan was racing up there, but I got golden staff in my shoulders, so I couldn't race.
Yeah.
But just took the products up there and sort of watched and promoted and stuff like that. And it is an awesome event, and I think, yeah, like you say, having at least 2 rounds is going to be a lot better than just a single round event, and they get awesome support from their community with the spectating and yeah, good crowds, and it's just an awesome atmosphere, eh? Like
It is, yeah. You're spot on. You're spot on. The support they get from local sponsors, people coming down, and like I said before, you know, these people are paying to come and watch, but they love it. They love watching it, mate. Yeah.
yeah,
And they put on a good show. You know, the under lights is good. You know, they run. Darren does the commentary, or had done the commentary previously.
yeah,
You know, gets around, talks to people in the pits. It's a really good environment, a really good atmosphere
yeah,
for it. And like I said, it's probably one of the more serious events that we do. So, you know, you kind of feel like a pro rider rolling into the pits there. It's, you know, you walk in, people got some wicked setups and some amazing bikes.
yeah,
And so the opportunity to actually bang bars with those guys and cut a few laps with them is fantastic, mate. Yeah. I think they used to do like the top 10 shootout for for qualifying, stuff like that. All these little things they throw in there, mate, fastest lap events or whatever else. And man, these guys are just hauling ass, yeah. They can really ride. There's a lot of guys that show up to that can absolutely fly. So yeah, wicked event that one.
yeah, it is a wicked event, and it sort of shows the caliber. Like when our fastest riders from our clubs go there, and even they're struggling some nights, you know. Not all the time. We've got heaps of great guys in our clubs that get up there and are really competitive. But I've seen a couple of times, and they weren't just having a bad night. It's just, you know, there's faster dudes there, and it sort of draws people from all over the joint. I think that year that young bloke came down from somewhere in Queensland, or I can't remember where it was, but it was his dad drove and he flew or something. So that's pretty full on. That's pretty committed. But it's a great feeling, that sort of next level, isn't it? Like club days are fantastic, and supporting the club, all for that, and that's got to happen. That's where everything starts. But yeah, those sort of next level events as a rider really help you develop, I think. And you made a comment before about just making up numbers. You're learning. Every time you go out there, you're learning and you're actually improving, whether you're at the back or the front. You know, usually at the back is where you're doing most of the learning anyway, because you're trying to figure out why they're pulling away so much, or, you know, and by the end of the night, you've gone, oh yeah, they're accelerating here, I can hear them, and I'm not accelerating until I'm halfway around the corner, or whatever it is, you know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that that would have contributed to both of your riding, and I don't think you guys are slow at all. You're very competitive, and yeah, it's going around, traveling around to those events, and that will help get you even better if you want to keep going and getting better, you know, and improving. But
Yeah, 100%. It's one thing we found: the more time you spend on the seat, the faster you go, mate.
yeah,
You just need to just cut lap after lap after lap.
I was going to say it was probably pretty frustrating for you guys because you're in a built-up area. So what did you do during COVID? Like just normal sort of exercise?
Didn't do anything, mate. Yeah. So as I say, this is probably the first full season we've had out of COVID. So just for that, even through lockdown, mate, you know, we couldn't go to gym. We just basically sat around the house. We had the bikes sitting there ready to go, and just couldn't turn them over and go for a ride. So. Yeah, it was very frustrating, incredibly frustrating, and you know, to see, you know, potential events coming up, and then, you know, through different stages of lockdown, we're in the metro area, so we were locked down, and then, you know, anybody outside, they could go race up here and race there and have a practice day and whatever else. It was bloody infuriating. But you know, having said that, on the flip side of that, we certainly appreciate being back racing now, mate. Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people that had raced or have into bikes or whatever else probably maybe enjoyed that race. You know, you see a few people that haven't come back riding yet. You know, they sort of have that time out of COVID, maybe pick up another hobby, doing something else. And yeah, kind of like, you know, it does take a lot to go racing. Yeah, the preparation beforehand, the traveling to and from tracks, everything else. But yeah, for us, not racing for that period of time, probably just fueled the fire a little bit, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we came back and any chance we can go for a ride now, we're taking. You know, he's always messaging me. There's a meet here. There's this here. There's that there. There's that there. I think it was up to him, mate. I'll be riding every weekend, mate. Every weekend. And he said last weekend was his birthday. Oh, yeah. What do you want to do for your birthdays? Like, well, obviously, it's the club day, you know, final round of the club champs on Sunday. There's a practice day on Saturday, so we're doing that. So he raced all weekend for his birthday. That was his birthday weekend, mate. He will ride and ride and ride at the moment. And, you know, mate, I'm happy to come along anytime, man. You want to go? Well, we can make it happen. Let's go race. Let's do it.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. When you've got a fresh bike, make the most of it, you know.
Sure. I should have run things flat out. Just any chance I can get, I'll go. Even if it's just middle of just nowhere, I'll go.
And you guys, so City MX isn't far from you. Have you taken them there at all? Like, and I know you don't really want to jump them on that suspension, but you can still sort of half.
We do go down there for a bit of ride. We actually went a few weeks ago. We hadn't been, I think it was 18 months or something. Yeah. We actually had like these memories on Facebook of us riding there. Like a year or two before, not long, around the sort of time we went. We just had nothing. I think we were going to do a track. Or there was a ride.
There was a ride day somewhere.
There was something on. It was when Myrtleford. There was a race meet at Myrtleford, and that got canned. Was it Myrtleford? It was. And that got canned. So we're like, oh shit! I really want to go for a ride. And I'm like, look, let's put the bikes on the trail. We'll go down to City MX. The flat track bikes, we don't race them on a motocross track. We don't. They're just our flat track bikes. So like I said, I race BMX, so we both got these old 93 RM250s.
Oh, right.
So we were around just banging bars down there on that. But it's a great little facility, and like I said, close to home is primo. It's really good. I think it's less than 10-minute drive.
10 minutes.
So you know, we load the bikes on the trailer, zip down there, rode for a couple of hours, and that was enough. That was enough for me. I get really bad arm pump on motocross tracks. I do not have the fitness for it anymore.
But you know, you're getting that
ride there, mate. It was really good. Like I said, we haven't done any motocross for a long time. Very rusty, very, very rusty getting on the old motocross bikes. I just felt so awkward on the thing. I couldn't find my balance point. But man, we've done some jumps and had a blast. You know, probably the slowest blokes on the track. We were getting smoked by little kids on 65s. Yeah, they jumping over our heads. But we had a blast. It was good. And it's a great little facility down there. It is really good.
Yeah, and it's seat time, you know, so it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely.
It's you're getting a twisted throttle. And I'm a bit jealous because when I lived not far from you guys in Seabrook before I moved out here. And they were all going through the council bullshit with that and getting it all back up and running, and you couldn't ride there. So I never got to ride there, but I'll come down.
It's been a long slog, that track. They opened for a bit, then they closed for a bit. I think the neighbours up the road were complaining about the bikes and the dust. And they've got it up and running again. Full credit to them, man. It's a great facility, and it's well run and well organised. And you know, mate, having a track that close to home is fantastic.
Yeah, what a shame they haven't got an oval around the outside of it.
They've got room for it, mate. They have room for it. Yeah,
there's a paddock next door.
There's a big paddock next door. They got room for one. So anybody that you know on the committee there or whatever else, we start pulling some strings, mate, and we'll get involved, get a flat track down there. That'd be primo, man. That'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That's next to the archery, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So there's a big vacant land there. It'd be great. For us, we don't have a training facility. We don't have anywhere we can go to practice at this point. You know, ours are practice days at Broadford or riding around the place here. And then particularly this year's probably the most we've raced at Broadford. We haven't really raced there much on its own. You know, we're normally at Albury and here, there. Yeah. This year's been pretty much all Broadford. All Broadford, yeah. We've raced it. Which has actually been pretty good. Broadford's a very unique track. And you kind of sort of, once you get your head around it and racing there, you go somewhere else, you kind of, I don't know, you change your style a little bit. Yeah. You ride a little bit different at every track. Yeah, every surface is slightly different. So to put a full season at Broadford, not really race anywhere else. I think, you know, you've seen the speed that he's improved over the course of the season. You know, yeah, it's been an interesting sort of learning curve, purely just racing at Broadford, not sort of spreading our wings elsewhere.
Yeah, I like Broadford, not just because it's been a home track for me for a long time, but in my opinion, it changes a lot, and I quite like that. Like and that's why I think some people don't like it, because it's quite unpredictable. It can change quite a lot during the day.
Oh, just between rain, you sort of get off the bike and the next race you're on, it's a different track.
Yeah. And from meeting to meeting, it's usually totally different. And I mean, the layout, but it's not the layout I'm referring to. It's where the surface is lying, and sometimes it's hard and skatey, sometimes it's deep, and it'll be deep at the start of the day, but just the way the granites absorb the moisture or whatever, or it's wet all the way through, or it's dry underneath that little layer of moisture, and it just changes all the time. I find it quite unpredictable, and but that sort of makes it fun, and like you were saying just before, that you go to and that's one of the things I love about dirt track or flat track, whatever you want to call it, is that we're doing the similar techniques. I suppose it's like motocross and supercross, but every track is so different and so unique to its environment, I guess. And like Mildura, you've got sort of the deeper red sand, whatever that is, and everyone loves that because it's super grippy. And then go to Aubrey, and that's pretty consistent track too. I've only ridden the dirt track there once, so I haven't actually raced on it. I've only so the dirt track, for those listeners that don't know the Aussie slang, dirt track's usually the kidney bean with a right-hander in it. And the Skylift, which the boys were talking about before, is their speedway short track, which I think is, do you know how many meters that is? About 450 or something like that?
It's a lot shorter. It's a lot shorter, mate. Purely he's constantly turning. Yeah, you don't really sort of stand the bike up too much. He's always in goal.
Yeah, like Myrtleford too. And Myrtleford, that's another one that's, you look at that and you think, oh yeah, it's just a speedway track, but then you get to turn 2 and you go, and shit, there's the wall. She squares off. And you guys, because they put a right-hander in that, don't they, sometimes? And you guys would have got to do that?
Yeah,
they done infield.
Yeah, they built like an infield kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when you're going into between 1 and 2, you make a sharp left.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a little U-turn in there, and you go back in between 2 and 3. So it was a good addition. It was quite unique. You're not really it's really, really tight. So you're not really riding that especially around Victoria. There's no real tight kind of tracks, which was unique. It was certainly different. It was hard to get used to, but it was a good addition. It was a very good addition.
Definitely mix it up, wouldn't it? Because it's hard to get used to for everyone. So you guys that are fast on the oval, you've got the same challenge.
Yeah, it kind of made
when it's that tight.
Impact. When you're in the infield there, it's a really good equaliser. So those guys might sort of spread away through the main part of the track. Then you hit that infield where it's tight and twisty, and the sort of the group of riders just tends to compress and expand through it, rather than just sort of riders, the faster guys just pulling away.
Yeah.
It did kind of pull things back and give you a bit of an opportunity. If someone's a bit quicker on those long sweeping corners, when you get those tight little ones, you can maybe sneak up the inside, shame the wheel and stuff like that. Just a little bit of a different dynamic. We raced one time at Albury, and they done an intro. They actually put a jump in there as well. It was just something different, but it was a lot of fun. I think it was on the dirt track, part of the dirt track circuit, and then same thing. Sort of crosses over through the middle where you do the long track.
I've actually done the TT.
Swung back around. Yeah, then it swung back around through the dirt track side and just had a jump in the middle and stuff like that. But just a good fun, just something a little bit different to the normal dirt track we ride.
Yeah, that was I did that track as well. I don't know if we were there at the same time or
we must have crossed. Probably a real good chance of that, actually. We probably were both there at the same time.
Yeah, because I think I actually only started really talking to you not that long ago, wasn't it? But I'd always seen you around.
We'd seen around. I remember when I first started, we started banging bars in C grade. The year you won, you took out the club championship in C grade. Because I was on my old 450, the YZ 450, and you had your one. I think mine's an 04, yours is an 04 as well. The old four-speed box. We just got chatting underneath that canopy, waiting to go right. We just started chatting and kind of just hit it off, and just sort of been catching up with each other at the track and known each other ever since.
Yeah, I forgot you had that. Did you buy that off another club member?
I bought that off Brad Russell. Yes, I did. I bought that off him. He just had to sit there one day. This is when I first started racing dirt track, right? So I just took, mate, the old RM 250. I took this old piece of crap thing down there, and I've got a Husselberg 550 that I was racing as well, right?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I'm sort of getting into the dirt track. I want to buy a bike more specifically for it, because those other bikes I was racing motocross and a few other things at the time. And I'm going to get it for sale for like $2,000 or something like that. I'm like, shit, that looks all right. I would buy it, man. Yeah. So I went up, had a look at the bike. He showed me over the bike. This thing he'd done, he'd raked the forks. He'd done all these sort of modifications of the thing. It was just an absolute beast of a bike. He put an underswept exhaust on. It's as noisy as hell.
Yeah.
How would he get pinged for noise on that? I don't know, but I raced that for a good season or two. That old thing. It was just it was just a fun bike to ride, mate. Yeah.
And what did you end up doing with it? Did you sell it or?
I still got it.
You still got
it. I've still got it. We don't sell any of our bikes, mate. We just keep collecting more and more.
Yeah, awesome.
I think he still got the first. He started riding on the KX 250F. We still got that. My first motocross bike racing the BMX was an old 92 YZ250. I've still got that. We just sort of keep them.
Awesome. So you could
all the bikes we have sold, we've regretted selling.
Yeah.
And I think every rider knows that feeling, mate. Yeah, I should never have sold that bike. I should never have sold that bike.
Yeah.
So
you normally don't want to either, and sometimes you're forced to, but you can help.
Yeah, that's right. If we have to sell them, we will. But if we can keep them, I mean, to be honest with you, most of the bikes we buy, by the time we finish with them, aren't probably worth that much. They're pretty flogged out by the time we finish with them.
Oh, that's good. That's how it should be. Yeah, well, I've still got my 04 as well that's downstairs, and I was going to bring it this weekend. Are you guys going to the Moto Cloud Day? And I think Taylor Street's doing a day or something on Friday.
The Moto Cloud, we've got some events on this weekend, so the Moto Cloud we won't be doing. And Taylor Street's was on a Friday, so we've got work.
Yeah.
We have started doing those Moto Cloud events. You got into those.
Yeah, I think there's one on Saturday. Did you see that?
Yeah, there's one on Saturday, yeah.
And then that's the Christmas party, isn't it? So on Saturday night, you coming to that or?
Yep, we'll be there.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I was going to bring the 450 along, but where the oil transfer pipe goes, I was putting the head back on, and I went to put it in, and it won't tighten up anymore. The banjo.
Oh, lovely.
So she's going to be.
There's always something with the old bikes, mate, isn't it? There's always something with those old bikes.
She's going to be back in pieces again, and it was looking sweet too. And I'm thinking, I can't wait to fire this up again. And it's funny because Brad Russell, the guy who bought the bike off the 450, your YZ, we've talked about this a bit actually. He sort of feels too that he was better on that than he is on his modern bike.
He's always said that to me. He goes, I'm better on that bike than the one I'm on now.
Yeah, and I'm the same. Like it's taken me a long time to get better on this 017. And one day I did a bit of a test and sat them next to each other in the garage. And as soon as you do that, you go, that's why. The 017 engine sitting back like this and the 04's like that. Yeah, geometry and everything's totally different, and ergonomics. And I remember I went to sit up on the tank on the 017 and quickly realised there really isn't a tank.
The older ones.
So I had to figure out, where the centre was and where not to go, and it's taken a long time. It's sort of weird. I thought it would just be get on and go, but
every bike's a little bit different. I found that, I've just started racing the 250 now. I haven't even raced it yet. I haven't even raced the 250 at all, but I just got the 250. He bought a new 250. And he goes, so if you buy my 250 off me, it'll only cost me a couple of grand for this one. So I inherited a 250, right?
Yeah. Right.
So I've just got it prepped and ready to go and ready to race. And I went out, and I don't think I could be any slower on the thing. I feel so awkward on it. Yeah. I'm growing on it. It's growing on me. I'm getting used to it. But like I said, every bike has a little different feel and a different way it behaves around the track.
Yeah.
And some just work for you. Yeah. Some bikes just work and some don't. And it's just a matter of finding that little bit of adjustment here and there and making it work. But yeah, I've definitely found that throughout. Some bikes have just felt really, really good on a dirt track. Just comfortable out of the box. This first time we jumped on it, my Husselberg, that was really comfortable out of the box. It's a big bike, yeah. It just felt more natural. But again, it's a bit long in the tooth, that one. I don't want to race it because it'll end up going bang.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's funny. Every bike's sort of a little bit unique in that sense, I think, just for the feel of them.
So, what's the plan for next season? You're going a bit more serious again. You might start doing a few title meets, and actually, are you doing Vic titles in a couple of weeks?
Yep, yeah, we're signed up for that one, so we're all good for that one. We'll go over the bikes probably on the weekend, probably on Saturday or Sunday. Probably Sunday, we'll go over the bikes.
Yeah.
Just give everything once over, make sure it's all good. But I'd like to take things a bit more serious. I probably would focus more on Harley Club next year. I want to do some more 450 events. I really want to start pushing on the 450 and start to ease up on the 250.
Yeah.
So I'll sign up for one of everything on the 450. I reckon one day in the near future, I'd like to go to that Flat Track Nationals.
Yeah.
I'd like to give that a go. That seems fun on those actual flat track tires.
Yeah.
On those big ones, but on the 9 yeah. So
yeah,
that's in the near future. But for now, focus on just Harley Club.
Yeah, hopefully they keep I don't know if the title's the right title for the class, but it's called a clubman class, which is sort of open wheel, which in most clubs, clubman sort of says beginner, which it wasn't. It wasn't a beginner's class. It's just an open class. Mm-hmm. But I hope they keep that because I think it's worth entering. If you don't want to go the whole 19-inch thing, that's fine. But I think it's worth doing the event because from what we saw over the internet and social media, the presentation and the professionalism and that, it's like your skylift, that's you'll feel like a rock star, just being there and participating. And I think, it shouldn't, I'm a big advocate of 19s. That's what I say, but I never push it on anyone. It's your choice. And I think the sport, we're all still a family, even if there's slight differences. And it would be great to have that spot still there for people that want to stick to the standard Australian dirt track setup and still come in and race a high caliber event. So I hope they don't flick that off, but I know they struggled a little bit for numbers in that class. And I think it's only my personal opinion, but I think it was because it was called Clubman. And, you got fast guys on 21.18 going, I'm not a clubman, just that mentality thing. So I don't know if you're listening, Dave, maybe that's a thought. Just the name there it could be pro 450, pro open. I don't know which way you want to word it, but pro open wheel or something. I don't really know, but I think if that class is good, even if you can come up to one round, I'm hoping that they'll have one in Victoria or close to Victoria.
It'd be good if they want in Victoria. We'll be there. Pretty much anything in Victoria, he's signing us up to.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes at the moment. He's rigged up this on here, this on here, this on here. I've entered, so get your entry in, and then that's it. Off we go. It works well for me because I don't have to worry about it, man. I can just sit back. But like I said earlier, basically at this point in time, any race meet that we can make, and I'm on the list and we're racing, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah. After the couple of years off the bikes with COVID and all that garbage, man, all we want to do at the moment is just ride, put laps on the bike, get out, bang bars. It's what we enjoy doing. we do it together. We we bond over it. We get in the garage and work on the bikes. We prep them ourselves. We feed off each other for some feedback, how the bikes feel, how the bikes are running, everything like that. It's it's our sport, it's our hobby, it's our life. We love doing it. So
Yeah.
to get the opportunity to do it with my son and that is fantastic. And like I said, man, yeah, any events that we sort of see that we can make, whether we're gonna be any good at it or not, we'll still go race. We'll go bang bars. It doesn't bother us. We will just ride and enjoy doing that.
Yeah, well, it is something I've noticed. You always come off smiling. So
Every
you're
time,
two of the
mate.
smiliest guys in the pit, I reckon. You're always smiling, and yeah, it's pretty obvious that you love doing it, doing dirt track and racing. So I just hope we can build it up more, so there's more opportunities, so you can go racing, and
yeah, 100%.
create some more
it's an amazing sport. It's a good group of people. We've enjoyed it. You know what I mean? If we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't do it. And I think everybody's in that same boat. Yeah. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. And particularly with motorsport, the amount of money it costs, the amount of time it takes, and the effort it takes to go and race. If you weren't that interested, you just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's one thing I've found with the Harley Club. Everyone's pretty passionate about it. Everyone's happy to be there. Everyone says, "G'day, how's a chat? How you going? How you been? How's the bike going? How you racing today?" It's a good atmosphere. It's great to be part of that.
Yeah, and you pretty much get a chance to ride any type of bike too, because quite often that sort of offer comes your way after you get to know people a little bit and I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if there's many other sports where someone will turn around and say, "I'll ride my $20,000 race bike," which I've had lots of offers from guys that I know spend huge money on their bikes, to ride them, and I definitely don't spend that sort of money. I'm very, very broke most of the time.
Yeah.
But
I do like that. You can spend as much or as little as you want on your bikes and stuff like that. But obviously money talks, mate. You get all those mods to your bike and mate, it makes a difference. Yeah, it certainly does. So
yeah, but it's as I say to most sort of guys that are getting into it, you don't worry about that until you need to worry about that. Once you're riding your bike to the maximum and you can't get any more out of it, that's when you can start thinking, okay, if I want to be number one or in the top 5 in Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia, or Australia, Queensland, wherever, I'll start spending some money. But yeah, by that time, you've probably done 5 or 6 years and you're going, I want to get really serious, or you were serious in another discipline like motocross or something, and you've come into it pretty fit and capable anyway. That might speed it up and fast track it a little bit. But yeah, I sort of think around 5-6 years, and if you're sticking with it, you'll be quite a bit faster, hell of a lot faster by that time, and probably ready to get into spend some serious money on your engine and bike and stuff. But in saying that too, I went to the New South Wales titles, which was on oil and stuff like that, and I was sort of thinking I was going to be way at the back, and all I did was put in a Recluse torque drive clutch and had a little bit of head work done by Stu, and the bike was more than competitive. Like, it was fine. It was the rider that was the issue. But I still didn't.
Yeah, you spot on with that. You spot on with that. Generally, you put an A grader on any bike, and I'll beat you, mate. They could ride. You put an A grader on bike, and they're going to do a faster lap than I will. And it doesn't matter. I spend more on my bike. They're just going to get faster anyway.
Yeah.
So it is a matter of that. Yeah, you do need to get your skills up there. You do need to get your own speed before you worry about the bike.
I think so. Yeah. And because that time too, over that time, that's like an apprenticeship. You learn how to save it. You learn by your mistakes when you didn't save it. And then when you're on a 90 horsepower fire breathing arm ripping machine and it goes wrong, you're most likely going to save it, because you've got the experience under your belt. And yeah, I'm not up for a new guy coming in and going and making his machine, high horsepower.
They'll just hurt himself probably.
It's just a recipe for disaster, really. So how'd your numbers come about? Because you're number 20, Heath, and your number, is it 171, Jack? Have I got that right?
717, yeah.
No, it's my dyslexia
717.
kicking in. 717.
You go first.
I got mine, so I kind of got inspiration from like the big motocrossers in America, like from Trace Pastrana and Kevin Winden. They got their numbers from their first race. So for Trace Pastrana, his first race is in the first month of '99. I got the same inspiration for that. So my first race of motocross was in the 7th month of 2017. So I thought I could buy the two together, 717, and it looks cool. Yeah. So I thought, why not? And it looks cool.
Yeah,
and yours probably isn't as
So mine's the most boring story in the world. When I first started racing motocross, like I said, I raced with a bike with BMX club. And so when I was doing my entry, they just said, "Oh, what's your number?" And I said, "What's the next available number you've got?" I don't care. And they said 20, and I'm number 20. That's basically it, mate. Yeah, I didn't really have a number. I'd never raced. I've done some trail riding stuff like that. I've been around bikes for quite a few years. Yeah. I never actually raced. So yeah, I'm like, "What's your next available number?" They go, "Well, no one's got 20. Do you want that?" I'm like, "That'll be fine."
Yeah,
and I've got 20 ever since. But it's grown on me, man. I could never give a stuff about the numbers, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Number 20, who cares? Now I love it. It's my number, yeah. It's my number. But that was it. It's so uninspiring, yeah. I wish I had a good story like that. It was this and sentimental to me or nothing, but no, it was the next available number.
Yeah, well, mine's pretty boring too. It's just the year I was born, but I went up. It's my number 2, and I love it. And I've raced.
Man.
Well, I went to race with New Zealand with it, and they made me letter D. I mean, what the fuck? No, I'm 66. No, you're not. You letter D. Oh, okay. So anyway, but I went up north.
I actually got number 20 tattooed on me back now.
Oh, have you?
On one of my stickers, yeah, I got number 20 tattooed. It's like I said, yeah, you're right. It doesn't grow on you, mate. Yeah, that number doesn't matter on you, or anything like that. Whether it's, from this meaning, that meaning, whatever else, your number's your number, you love it, dude, yeah.
Well, I went up to New South Wales, and I don't actually know how they scored it at all, but there was 3 number 76s. I was devastated.
76, no doubt, yeah.
I was devastated. Where the hell are these 76s coming from? But yeah, no, it was pretty funny. And at the Akubra Classic, I was in the repechage to get into the Pro 450 final. You have to be the top 2. And my arch nemesis, the other number 76, wiped me out. So neither of us got in. There was no 76s in the final. Could have been. What the hell's he playing at? Yes, the great racing stories and enjoying traveling, and what you guys are doing together as father and son. I'm a bit jealous actually that I couldn't do more of that with my old man. He's in New Zealand, so it's a bit hard for him to come over for the weekends sort of thing. But we did a bit when I went racing in New Zealand. It was a lot of fun, and because that's was it 4 days of racing, I think, and we had a few late nights.
That was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Quite a while ago now, I think it was.
Yeah, it was definitely pre-COVID. I thought it was closer to 2, but I remember seeing on your social media you went over there for a period of time to race. And it was
I think the last one was
pretty much racing every day, and it looked like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's awesome! Yeah, I think the last one was 2015. I think the first one was 2013, 14, and 15, or 12, 13, 14. I can't remember. But I was only meant to go once, and that's how much of an addiction it became. It was just, it's just mad. Like that was my, because they used to run a long track there, which is big trotting track, and that's what I went for because we didn't have Bathurst running at that stage, and now we've got Oyen, which is a trotting track as well. Yeah, so that we didn't have those events happening here, so I thought I'll go home and do it. So that's what I went to do, and I'd entered and everything, and then they cancelled it because they had a disagreement with the trotting track or something. But I'd already booked my flights and already organised everything. Oh, what the hell am I going to do then? So I looked at the other events and I thought, oh, I'll get a super motard kit for the bike, because the old man had bought me a bike to race over there. So I said, oh, there's a set of wheels coming your way. I'm going to have a go at motard. So that's sort of...
Right. That's how it all kicked off, mate.
That was the first year. And I did the hill climb, the street race, the circuit race, the beach race. Yeah, the only thing I couldn't do was the speedway. Yes. But yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. But the only problem with that is I couldn't race too much dirt track. I think I was doing probably 2 meetings and a couple practice days. And that's all I could afford to do. So so what is your apprenticeship, Jack? Because you must be on bloody good money, or his dad taught you how to save really well or something.
Oh, well, look, at the start, I just basically just splurged out on one of everything. And as soon as it comes to a point, I kind of got everything I want. And then just saving majority of it, just saving it. And then, when it came to, I started looking a little while ago for, just houses, just looking around to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then just sort of just goes, you know what, this could be a reality, this. And then, done.
Yeah, sweet. So do you have the only reason I'm bringing it up actually is because I'm going to do a bit of a podcast about the cost of racing and maybe a few tips. And do you have a tip of how you guys manage to keep going racing? Like, do you put a percentage of your wage aside for it, or I don't know, do you do an extra milk run or something, or how do you
we just do it basically I mean, we work in construction, so we're sprinkler fitters by trade. It's actually a trade sprinkler fitting, like fire protection, fire sprinklers and stuff like that. Construction pays pretty well. So it's not great money, but it's enough that we can afford to go racing. We don't
but in saying that,
so what if we don't, most of our weekends are taken up racing, so we're not just out at bars and pissing it up or anything like that. So we can afford to sort of put a bit of money into that. He's Jack's fortunate enough to have been able to save for his apprenticeship. He was kind of just at this point at 15 or so, he's kind of just doing what he had to do to get through school. And I said to him, well, mate, you're not really that keen on school. You're probably going to finish school for the sake of it and then get an apprenticeship anyway.
Yeah.
Jump on board, we'll give you a start, but just do one thing for me is save your money. Once you get out of your time, buy yourself a house, and then that's it. And he did.
Yeah, sweet.
He went out the first year he started working, first thing he bought was a CRF 450.
No, I got my 125 first.
Then he got his 125 first. So he bought his 125, went bought his CRF 450. Then came the RM 250, and then was the 250. So he's got small bore and big bore in both 2 and 4 strokes, and then that was it. And then we sort of raced and stuff like that in between, but he had everything he wanted. And he just sort of saved his money throughout the time. Wasn't out pissing away doing this, that, the other, and just through the course of the 4 years through his apprenticeship, just putting a bit of money aside each week and everything like that. He come out of his time, he had enough to put a deposit on a house, and off he went. Generally, if we need a bit extra, we've got a race meet coming up, we're going to spend some money on bikes. We'll try and get a working Saturday or a bit of overtime to top it up a little bit, but generally, we do a lot of the work ourselves on the bikes as well, which saves a hell of a lot of money, dude. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we have, is the ability to work on bikes and do our own stuff. So most of the time, we're pretty fanatical about changing oil filters. We firmly believe you maintain the bikes, they're going to last a bit longer. And it's been pretty accurate for us. They do. The bikes last a bit longer. You know, but like I said, we've serviced them ourselves with everything.
Tires.
But yeah, I don't think realistically suspension is probably the only thing we'll send the bikes out to get done.
Yeah.
Everything else we just do ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing. It's not so much about earning extra money and anything like that. It's just the ability to do things ourselves, which probably gets us a little bit further in our racing, the ability to race everywhere. You know, for the better part, as long as the engines are kept with good oil and they're serviced and air filters are clean, they do last a bit longer. He's hard on his motors. I'm a bit kinder. I've got a little bit more mechanical sympathy, mate. He just beats the living shit out of his bikes. He's got more money than me, so he can do that. He can afford to.
Yeah. So Jack is your sponsor. Is that what you're telling me, Heath?
Do you know what's a welcome change? I've been his sponsor for long enough, I reckon. I've sponsored him for a hell of a long time. I'm trying to get him to buy me a new trailer, actually. That's the latest in racing. Because we are racing a lot, and we're looking at doing some other classes in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We just roll around a 3-bike trailer, which of course he's always loading up 2 bikes. I only get one. It's my trailer. I only get one bike on it. So I'm telling him my birthday's coming up. I want a new trailer for my birthday.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I'm getting a jocks and socks, mate.
You look like you'd be good with a welder, Jack. Maybe you could get to work welding one up.
Yeah, I learned a bit through trade school. I know enough to get me in trouble. I'll say that. I know enough to get me in trouble.
You know, you wouldn't be like one of those dudes that he's welding the bar on with his head through the gap. You wouldn't be one of them, would you? The good old
Hey, if he did, we'd be taking a photo all over social media.
Yeah, you definitely get the old President Richard Lofty's Tool of the Month, I think, for that one. So, what would you like to see? Any changes in dirt track that you'd like to see, like maybe more tracks or anything like that?
Look, more tracks is always better. Just more opportunities to races and just different tracks to ride, just different experiences and just getting used to different tracks. Look, I don't know how realistic it would be. If it would be realistic, it'd be great. I'd love to be getting like every weekend, like I talked before, City MX. If there was a dirt track there, I'd be there every day, I reckon.
Yeah.
I could be there every day, counting laps, just burning fuel. I don't know how realistic it would be. That'd be good. Probably more events, maybe, like at different clubs. Like I see Myrtleford try. They try to. Mount Beauty's like more of a car club. It's more of like a car club. So their events are kind of just trying to avoid their schedule. Yeah. But pretty much that's pretty much it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. In Victoria, because we are the actually South Australia is probably more worse off than we are, but we've only really got the 3 sort of in the Motorcycling Australia affiliation tracks, and then you've got Myrtleford and Mount Beauty, which is in the other affiliation. Is it AMA? I always get it wrong.
AMA, it is, yeah.
AMA.
And that's probably one of the things I think. You know, if they could just amalgamate, and a bit like in motocross, where they'll have the northern tiles or the state tiles at a series of tracks. Just mix it up a little bit. I think. I think people would travel to different tracks if they had a series from them all. It tends to be. I think probably at the moment that there tends to be a big thing. The Harley Club race is purely abroad. For this club races there, this club races there. Maybe have a series, an invitational thing where one round's at Albury, the next round's at Broadford. Just mix it up like that. That'd be probably a fun thing to do. A few of those series would be pretty cool. Like I said, we did the Twin Valley thing at 2 tracks back to back. It's just good fun. If they could maybe something along those lines would be good for the sport. But I think there seems to be a massive shortage of actual tracks and facilities. Like I said, we spoke of four tracks in the state that we know of. I think there's other speedway tracks and stuff like that, but they don't have open to motocross bikes.
Yeah.
I think there's a good opportunity for that. Like I said, mate, there's more than enough people who are willing to travel. We do it. I know a lot of people would be willing to travel, particularly those series things where you got 4 rounds at 4 different tracks, and at the end of it all, you get everyone wins a prize, or big pat on the back. You sit down, have a few beers, and talk some shit.
Yeah.
I think that'd probably be a nice thing to have in the sport. Whether it's something that's achievable or not, I'm just not that involved in the committee side of things and stuff like that to see if it would be. But yeah, I think that's probably one thing that I think the sport would really benefit from. Just mixing up with other clubs and stuff like that, other tracks, and just like I said, maybe a bit of a series through a few different tracks. Everyone has a home ground advantage of their home track, and then down the road to someone else's track the next week and see how you go.
Yeah, that's right. And that's probably the most prominent comment that we get, is that a series across, because of that home ground advantage. Like in Taylor Street's podcast, she was saying, she traveled 20 hours. You're not going to do that once a month, that's
no, correct.
A once a year sort of thing. And then they've got the home ground advantage, and by the second day, you're only just starting to feel it. And I watched that with the Aussie titles at Forbes, and all our club members that were up there, taking it takes a little bit to adjust to those tracks. So if those
absolutely,
those titles, or if there's a series over 5 or 6 different tracks, then that's awesome. It evens the playing field a bit more, I think.
It does, absolutely, man. Like I said, everyone gets a chance for that home ground advantage, mate. I know after racing a full season of Broadford,
and it's good.
We're certainly faster than ever. We know the track better than we have, previously and stuff like that. And then like I said, you go to a different track, and it's every serve's a little bit different, and I think that'd be probably one thing that I'd throw in for the dirt track community to do something along those lines. Like I said, whether it's achievable or not, I don't know, man. I'm just a racer. I'm not involved with committees and the politics of it all. I don't understand how it works, and I leave that to others, and they do a fantastic job of it. So, like I said, that's probably the one thing I'd say. Just that.
Yeah, well, that's actually something I'm working on at the moment. So hopefully we're going to have. I'm aiming for 6 rounds, but it might be less the first year. We'll see how we go anyway. So, but there'll be a bit of a series going on there, and then the AFTN. Eventually, that's what he wants to grow to too, more nationally, rather than just up that end of Australia. So they come in, and as long as they get the support from riders like yourselves and people that travel, and sort of on your point, going not only the home track advantage, but also with everyone traveling to each other's communities and tracks, we're all supporting each other and giving them a boost, and
100%.
Extra riders, and there's one funny thing. I get told quite a bit, why have you gone into supplying flat track stuff? And I'm very at the very beginning of my business of what I actually want to supply and what I want to do. But it's such a small market. Depends how you look at it. If you start looking a little bit deeper, it's actually huge. For a start, it's across a lot of different countries, and just within Australia, once you start linking Victoria, South Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, that becomes a lot bigger, that market. But if you're going, if I was just concentrating on Victoria, I'd never survive, But once you spread it out and you bring all the community together, we've actually got a huge industry here that we can support a lot more than has been supported in the past, once we come together and all work together and do it and support these series. And Skylift was huge when it was 3 rounds. Like, I remember it was one of the number one things on the calendar. Everyone would say, "Are you doing Skylift?"
Absolutely.
And,
everyone was looking forward to it, man. Everyone was looking forward to it, mate.
So I'm not sure.
Everyone that I knew that was racing was booking it. I'm going. You going? Of course I'm going. There was always a buzz around Skylift, mate.
So I hope they can build that up again, and I hope the buzz becomes like that around the AFTN as well. That's a different spin, obviously being a 19-inch series. But I think if he keeps on the good work like he did for that first teaser round, and and 23 goes off with a bang, you'll see international guys come over and, it will really change the scope of things. I think that's, again, all these opinions are just my own personal opinion based off my crazy thoughts going through my head. But that's sort of how I see it. I think it will be like that. And all the other, so the one I'm working on is called the Kelpie Cup. So that's sort of, obviously another promotion gimmick there by my master, my big brain. And get the name Kelpie out there as much as we can. But it's basically a 19 only, but you can race 21 19s or 19 19s, and it's hopefully going to be an open class, so you can pretty much bring anything, and just latch onto club days and some events, other events, maybe the Skylift, who knows. That's not official, by the way. That's just a hope, and we'll just see what happens. But that, hopefully that feeds the AFTN and helps build clubs up, because then you can just come on your standard motocross, whack a trials tire on or block pattern tire on, and just get into it for very, very little. Just tire and an entry fee. Whether they choose Shinko, Dunlop, V-Rubber or Kelpie, it really doesn't worry me, as long as they're on a bike and supporting the club. And
absolutely.
But probably the biggest comment everyone says is a series, and I think 23 we might have 3 or 4 series going, which will be interesting.
That sort of stuff would be awesome. Everyone, that's one of the things we love doing, is that, like with the club, even just the club championships, we're rocking up every round, mate. You got to score points, you got to keep going. To keep ticking over points, mate. You know what I mean? And it does. It makes you go. You want to go ride these events. You want to do every round of it. You want to do every week. You want to go.
And that and the Harley Club Championship. This is the first time I think it's been over 4 rounds. Normally it's normally 4 rounds. I mean, it was meant to be 6. I think it ended up being 5 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think one got washed out in the first round. The transponder thing wasn't working or something.
There's a couple of technical things happened in that, but when I was looking at the points and reading them out at the last meeting, it was bloody close. Like, it was freaking competitive in the top. Top 5. It could have been anyone's, and some guys didn't turn up and gave the points away, But
and that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, just turn up every round you want. You got to keep getting points. Keep getting points.
It makes it awesome. Well, I don't know how long we've been talking there, because it's probably a while by the looks of it, and I could keep talking for ages. Because we haven't even got on to our bike counts and how many bikes we've got and all that sort of stuff yet. But by the sounds of it, you've got at least 10 in your garage. I'm guessing something.
There's a few numbers now, mate. I think between the two of us, we've got probably well over a dozen of them. So
that's awesome. And just quickly before we sign off, was that passed down through your family, through your dad and that sort of
racing?
Thing? Oh, just bikes.
Just me, mate. I always had a thing for bikes since a kid, man. I love bikes and stuff like that. And got the opportunity to race at some point, and that was it. But my dad was probably more into footy and that sort of stuff. I actually played basketball with my dad as a teenager. And stuff like that. But the motorsport thing's all me, mate. I just always had a passion for it. Jack we didn't really sort of race together or anything like that. As a young boy, I bought Jack a PW50. Didn't really take to it. He wanted to play footy with his mates and try his hand at soccer and probably half a dozen other sports. And then just at one point he goes, you know what, I reckon I'll race motorbikes, mate. Well, here we go. This will be good. And that was it. But it's we're sort of the first generations of it, mate. It certainly wasn't through my family or through my dad or anything like that. It's just something I had a passion for, and now Jack does as well. So
Yeah. Oh, hopefully it will go for many generations more.
100%, mate. Yeah, it does get in your blood, mate. Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
It doesn't matter where it starts, but it definitely gets in the blood, mate. Yeah.
Well, I've kept the girls' little bikes. I've got a 50 and a 70 there for my grandkids.
Yep. Yep, absolutely,
When
man.
they come.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've even still got back protectors and that for little people.
Yeah, keep all the helmets and all the
I'm prepared. Maybe 10 years too early, but I'm prepared. They'll probably be racing hover bikes for them. Oh, guys, thanks so much for joining us and letting people hear your story and your passion for racing, and you really look forward to watching you both race more and grow and kick some more goals. And Jack, look forward to you getting even faster on your 450, and hopefully, I don't know, I'd like to see you take out the win on your 250. I reckon it's possible before you hang that one up, but I don't know. We'll see how you go.
We'll see one day. Hopefully one day. One day.
Yeah. So nice, and we'll catch you in the weekend anyway, and on to 2023, I guess, because that's there's no more races this year. You guys are doing, is there? Oh, the Vics. I've forgotten about that.
Well, the Vic's coming up, yeah. Coming up. I think that's basically it then.
Yeah.
We'll after that. The bikes go to track ride, get suspension done. So
Okay.
they'll be out of action. I think he said they'll be ready by Christmas, which doesn't really matter. I don't think there's any other racing on. I think unless maybe a Moto Cloud day, practice day or something.
Yeah.
We'll find a bike to ride maybe anyway if there is something on. But yeah, that's basically it, mate. Got the big times coming up, and then that's the year out for us.
Yeah, it's really thrown me having the Christmas party before the last sort of event of the year. I keep forgetting about it and then going, oh yeah, we've got the bits yet. But was that a little bit of a sponsor plug then for Track Ride, or do you guys have any sponsors?
No, nothing, man. No, this is where they're going. I actually asked a few blokes out at Harley Club a week or two ago. I'm like, man, I think I need a suspension tweak. Who do you recommend? They said, well, most of the guys around here use Track Ride. So that was it.
Yeah. I think probably 95%. I reckon would be pretty close.
Yeah.
You know
what? It's just one of those things. Just if enough people are saying he does a good job, I'll go there. Yeah. He must be doing something right. So
yeah, that's it.
I said, we'll see how we go anyway, mate. The bike's going there to get done. So yeah, like I said, I think the thing with me, I just put on a bit of weight over the last 12 months. I'm over 100 kilos. I'm over 110 kilos now, actually. So it needs to be resprung pretty bad. I'm putting a bit of weight on the bike. I need to get it fixed. I definitely need to get it fixed. I'm not going to lose any weight anytime soon, I don't think. So.
A bit of cycling or jogging. You get out in the late.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think I'll be getting losing any weight anytime soon.
And for those that can't see, Heath, you're about 6'2" or something, aren't you? You're pretty tall.
6'3", yeah.
6'3",
190 centimetres, mate, yeah.
So you're not 5'10" and 100 kilos. You'd be like a bowl.
No, yeah. We're big boys, mate, yeah.
Just painting the picture for the guys. You sort of,
absolutely.
You low down in the screen, they probably can't tell how tall you are. And you're pretty tall too, aren't you, Jack?
Yeah, about 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah. So that bulk is spread out. It's not all just around the guts and over your belt.
No, it's not. No, we're pretty big boys. Which even on the suspension, everyone's lowering bikes and stuff like that. Like, please don't.
No, you don't need to.
Just leave that height. We don't need to lower the bike.
Yeah, you would have wanted to put bar raisers on, probably, wouldn't you?
I do, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, always got to lift the bars up, mate. Yeah,
pretty much.
Every bike bar raises. He doesn't. He doesn't raise the bars, but I find it very uncomfortable if I don't raise the bar.
Yeah, and enduro and that sort of stuff you probably want to because you're standing up. But in the flat track, I agree with Jack. You can, as long as you can get over the bars, that's what you want anyway. So you can change your weight around and put your pressure over the front end and that when you have to. That's the main thing. As long as you can do that. If you can do that, Heath, then it's no dramas anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap that one up. It's been fantastic chatting to you. And yeah, like I said before, I've got a bad habit of doing that, saying goodbye and then starting the conversation. Apparently, that's why my wife doesn't come racing anymore, because we never leave. Well, it takes 2 hours to leave the pits. But yeah, all good. And
Awesome.
yeah, we'll catch you around.
Awesome, mate. Well, thanks for having us, man. It's been a good chat to you, dude.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. I've been wanting to do that profile thing for Jack for a while, and I've been slack and took your photo a couple of times, made you pose with your bike a couple of times, and never did anything with it. So I'm glad we've got you on here, and people can find out about you guys and your passion and for the sport. And if there's any business owners there and that want to give a couple guys a hand, you know, even if it's parts or gear or a little bit of money for some entry fees and that, call out to me. I'll put them on to you, or they can call you directly on Facebook, find you guys directly on Facebook. You find it through the podcast easy anyway. Yeah, that'd be good, because I think you guys are pretty deserving. You're pretty committed, and yeah, any little leg up from anyone is appreciated, I'm sure. So you might get a Kelpie sponsorship one day, but there's a few in line at the minute.
We're trying, mate. We're trying. As long as you just get all the time.
You're definitely supporting me enough to. But you know, I want to see that animal Jack and Heath come out, and you know, no prisoners and bashing bars to get to the front. When I see that, yeah, no worries at all. You get all the free colours you want. Yeah, but yeah, fantastic talking to you. Thanks again, Jack, because you have made the Kelpie tyre look good. You've been definitely up in the top 5 just about every race on that 250. And are you running it on the KTM too, or the V rubber?
Yep.
Oh, you've got it on the KTM too. Yeah. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, so I can't actually remember. Like I said, I get commentators' brain. I can't actually remember how you've been going on that KTM, but yeah, I'm sure you're making it.
Me on it.
Yeah, so
mate, straight line speed on that bike's incredible. I took it at the Moto Gland day, took it for a ride. It hauls ass, man. Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, right. Just pulls, does it? Yeah.
Just pulls. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a really nice bike, man.
Well, you got it a year before everyone else.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fancy pants, mate. He loves it.
Unfair advantage. I'm going to go and get a Stark Varg, and you know, I'll give you the finger when I'm flying past you with no noise. All good. That's the next one, mate. They're probably pretty close in price. I think they're about 17 grand, the 80 horsepower one. And why would you go to 60 when you can have an extra 20 horses? So yeah, I think, what's a new KTM worth? Can you tell us, or was that Secret Squirrel? Did you get a deal on it, or?
Oh, it was a 15 grand package. So that was bike, Kelpie tire on it, suspension done, ready for dirt track. That's pretty much it, really. But just everything set up, so just straight to the track.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sweet. I didn't know they were chucking Kelpie tyres on it. I've got to find out.
I said, can you throw a tyre on there? They go, yeah, no worries. So straight to Matt Jones on the way in.
I think we picked it up on the way there.
On the way there, yeah.
Like,
yeah, right.
If you ever buy this bike, it's got a motocross tyre on it, you know, scratch the shit out of the rim putting the tyre on. Well, maybe ask to pop it on there. So yeah, on the way to pick it up, we just called past, grabbed the Kelpie tyre, and on it went. So. And the rim didn't get a mark on it, mate. So
yeah, beautiful.
A couple of times, it's all scratched up anyway. So it doesn't matter now. We can change the tyres, no problem. But just that first one, yeah. First cut's always the deepest.
Yeah. I wish that I learned how to change tyres properly before I stuffed my rims too, but I didn't. I did it the other way. I can do it now without marking them. All right, guys, we'll catch you later, and I'll see you at the Christmas party.
Awesome, mate. You will. All right, thanks for having us, man.
Thanks, dudes. Catch you.
Have a good night, mate. See ya.
Yeah, a couple of nice fellas there, aren't they? Yeah, what dudes? Jack and Heath, Steward, And yeah, they've been around a lot more than I thought. I actually do remember seeing social media posts of them going up to Myrtlefoot and stuff, but you're getting more and more experience under their belt by travelling around. It does make a big difference. A few guys have always said to me, you know, get out there and travel around and make the effort to race against other people, because it helps improve your racing. It certainly does. And not only that too, you know, taking your bike onto different surfaces and gives you a greater understanding of your setup and things that you may need to change for different surfaces. So yeah, all great learning experiences. Heath mentioned Moto Cloud there a couple of times, which are a group of guys that are hosting practice days over here across multiple disciplines, which is interesting. So I met them last Sunday and was having a chat to Tark, so hopefully we'll get him on. And it won't be quite so dirt track orientated, and probably the first one that isn't. And I like to keep them flat track based as much as possible, because there's a lot of broad spectrum podcast out there, and I don't want to be one of them. We're here for the sport, not other disciplines. They get a lot of attention in other places, but we'll do our best to talk about dirt track and flat track as much as possible. But we probably, you know, as most of these pods, the races that we talk to, most of them do other disciplines, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, but we do like to focus on our sport. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you're racing this weekend, stay safe, keep it twisted, and keep it sideways. Go Flat Tracker.
Go Tracker. Go Flat Tracker. Go, go, go.